Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get it on. Mandate, get it on. And welcome to yet another CarCast. I'm Ace Carolla, and that's the professor.
Sandy Ganz. I want you to hit that with driver, because
I'm driver Ace Carolla, and that's the pit man, the professor.
Actually, I'm just here for support, light support. Les here is
more than support. All right. Of course, Les from Classic Datsun.
Hey, thanks everybody.
There you go. All right, step back now.
In between us. You know what Les reminds me of when you put the mic in front of him? Like the elderly aunt and uncle couple that come to the wedding out from Brainerd.
Yeah.
And they say, would you like to say something? They hold the video camera. Would you like to say something to Tammy and Steve? And the guy grabs the mic with one hand. You guys should have as much fun and love as we've had for the 51 years. You have that kind of looseness, that kind of natural authenticity, Les.
He flows. He has
kind of like your driving
good emotion.
skills. Nice and loose and perfect, man.
All right, so we're here at Laguna Seca, and we had a plan. Of course, that plan did not work out.
Best laid plans and all that? Yeah.
That's right. Now, I'm doing a car show for Speed Channel, and I said, hey, the plan, the big picture plan, is Les is sawing away, working day and night on the #1 BRE Roadster car, the Pete Brock car, the
Frank Moniz
Roadster, and I wanted to drive that at the Monterey Historics, and that car would be unveiled for the first time in 40 years.
41 years, yep.
41 years, and it would be great, except for I said, I've never driven on this track before. As a matter of fact, I've only seen people drive on this track. And
only part of the track.
Only the straightaway, and I was drunk.
That's right.
So I said, you know what we should do? We should go out to the charity race that's 2 months earlier. Now, I should get some seat time in that car. More importantly, learn the track so I don't make an ass of myself when we come back for these historics. And by the way, 15 Ferrari GTOs here on the tracks at the historics in August, and we will be here bringing it all to you sort of live. That's going to be exciting. I did not want to make an ass of myself in front of that crowd. So I told Les, you got 6 weeks, baby.
Let's get it done.
Les went nuts. I made 3 trips out to Les's shop. I pulled the seat out of my lightweight. I got the arm restraints from Sparco. I made 2 trips to Sparco. Well, somewhere the day before it was time to come out here, it just wasn't coming together, as it so oftentimes does.
Short by 1 day.
I will be charitable and say yes, 1 day, which is sort of like saying, well, you only missed your slot machine by 1 grape.
Almost hit it.
Almost hit it.
Almost, right.
Yeah, I was 1 card away from a royal flush. I got nothing. Point is this. It was late in the afternoon. The race was the following morning. Les is out in San Diego. We're here in Monterey. He's got a good 10-hour chug on that car dragging a trailer. And we had all the guys from the car show out here, cameras, crew, setup, thousands of dollars, 2 big RVs, the whole 9 yards. And at the last second, I said, Les, let's get the old 610.
The old reliable.
Old reliable. Never lets you down.
It's in my garage. You're going to have to swing by my garage. And that's when I made the call to Sandy and I made the call to Donnie. I said, boys, I need your help on this one.
Well, it was kind of sucky because I'm thinking, what are we going to do in Monterey? Hang out, watch the races? And me and Donnie are going, man, that's going to be kind of a nice one for a change where we get to just kind of lay back, get some CarCast content, and enjoy the races. Next thing you know, it's freight train into the call where, all right, we got to get over there. Donnie, you get that car going and get some air in those tires and less and something. And now it's like 10 o'clock, and it's like you can't do a suicide run that late when you've been up. You know, what time do you wake up that start of that day?
5.
5.
So
5 o'clock.
Now it's
3.5 hours sleep in 48 hours, so that was good.
Les ended up crashing on Sandy's sofa or slept on the kid's bed shaped as a race car. I don't know.
Sofa.
I didn't have that fantasy, the race car bed. No, that was.
The point is, these guys hit it then the next morning at 4 a.m. So you got a couple hours, 3
Yep.
hours sleep, and chugged it on here and got here 45 minutes before the practice race. I'd never driven on the track. The car had been sitting in my garage for 10 months, unstarted.
Dust.
Covered
dirt,
with dust, fired right up,
Yep.
got on the track, qualified a little bit above the middle of the pack, and then was shooting something else this afternoon and found out that I missed another qualifying race, so we'll be starting once again at the back of the pack.
Nice.
So that's where we're going to leave you for now. I'm going to get my fire suit. We'll get in the car. Beautiful day at Laguna Seca. We'll hit the track one last time. And then we will be back here in the number 1
months.
BRE Roadster
That's right.
in 2 months with that thing completely shaken out,
That's
ready
it.
to
Yep.
go. Yes?
By the way, I've never been applauded pulling in with a trailer and a car before, so the whole crew must have didn't believe I was going to make it here. So,
No.
So let's look, now the date for this is in August. I just want to see
August 20th.
So it goes 3 ways here, so we all hear the date.
yeah, it's the race is in the middle of August, and yes, and just so he put his mind at ease, we could go test the BRE car on Friday, 2 days from now.
As a matter of fact, I just talked to
That's a
Chris
little too late.
Vandergriff, and he's going to head up the race. And he told me that he's moved it ahead to August 1st, Les. But he told me
6
if
or 7
you talked
days
to him
now?
about that he would swear it was August 21st. I just happen to know he sneakily moved it ahead almost 20 days. So remember, think August 1st.
Yeah, there you
Car
go.
must be ready by August 1st. And again, don't worry about the emails, the posters, the flyers, or the race promoters.
It's all
They're
been
going to lie
changed.
to you and tell you it's the 20th and the 21st. Don't believe a word you hear.
I'll be up at Willow on Friday
August
morning to
1st.
test.
Oh, wait a minute. August 1st, 09. So you better get moving, baby.
Yeah.
All right, my RV is pulling up.
Your driving suit's in there. You
My
got to get
driving
dressed.
suit's in there. I'm going to get dressed. We'll see you
Light
on
it
the
up.
track.
Okay.
All right. Well, Adam's out for his run. We'll see how he does. It's a little before 3. I think one of the last races of the day. Should be great. Adam usually does good. He finishes mid-pack and almost anything we started as a minimum. Today he's going to be starting at the back of the pack, which seems to be our standard Mr. Qualifying, skip the qualifying. So given that, we'll see how he does, which should be good for some in-car camera view, because what we all have is him passing a whole bunch of cars, hopefully, and finishing well into the mid to upper parts of the finish groups.
During the breaks, between the races, between like the qualifying and the race, everyone else got their car up on jack stands with all 4 tires off, and there's a guy with a creeper underneath it. And Les is leaning against my car drinking a beer, and I'm always like, what's going on? What are these guys doing? They're just dialing in some suspension or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, how come we're never doing anything? And it's like, we don't need to do anything. I'm like, and then Les will say to me, like, well, how's the car feel? And I'll go, I don't know. I don't, it feels sloppy and weird. The steering wheel flexes too much. The suspension is kind of funky. I don't have anything to compare it to. Like, you'd have to get John Morton. I'm sure if you got John Morton to drive it, he'd throw up when he was done.
Yeah, the steering wheel was another one. I remember the steering wheel was loose on the splines.
Had
and
a little slop in it.
The whole wheel itself is so flimsy that I think you duct tape some sticks behind the spokes.
I was trying to stiffen it up a little bit because it had way too much flex. What you don't, it had the 2 things you don't want in a steering wheel: slop and flex. Same thing you don't want in a vagina, really, if you think about it. But it's like, it bowed a lot and it was loose on the spindle.
I guess you need a bigger stick and some tape on that, like we fixed the steering wheel.
So, but the thing about the old 33 Bob Sharp cars, it doesn't disappoint. And
this is you in the back here.
I just started in the back, and that's a little ass cam shot, and plenty of room to go off the road. Although was not running any air filters, so don't want to be sucking up a bucket of dirt. So my plan is to try to keep tires on the road and just learn the course. And it's always a little disheartening when you're doing the parade lap at the beginning and you find yourself being the other guy's pulling away from you. You're like, hey, we're not even racing yet.
It's a good sounding car, too.
It does have a good sound. The transmission is insane because first is down and second is up, and I can never get it into fourth. I try to go hard into fourth, and I can't. And it just whoever invented that transmission that goes against every other transmission you've ever driven. It's like it's all you have is muscle memory when you're driving, and not pulling it down into second gear. Throwing it up into second gear is such a shitty feeling.
Well,
now it's one more thing you have to think about while you're actually driving, and there's enough to go on in the car already.
I just put a piece of tape with the shifting pattern, and I would look at it all throughout the race. It's sad, but
I don't
true.
like that gearbox either. And it's funny because somebody said, well, that's because you shift between second and third more than you do to first and second, or something like that. And I go, it doesn't matter. That's not how your body has shifted for 40 years.
It doesn't feel good to go from second to third by pulling it down into third. That feels weird. You're always used to going up, and then the downshift into second gear. All you do is downshift into second gear. Downshifting by pushing it up is fucked up.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
You don't realize that second gear downshift is what you've been doing your whole life. Like going down into second and pushing it up is a fucked up thing to try to remember.
Yeah, Les will have to take care of that.
I'm sure he will. The BRE car's being worked on as we speak.
I think this is a start right here.
This is the start. You go around the hairpin that leads out into the long
some
straight.
interesting cars here, too. There's like some small Porsches. There's an MG, some Alphas.
Yeah.
It's a great class of car racing.
Yeah, there's some 911s. There's some what are those things? 956? What are those old Porsche? What is that green one? 956?
I don't know, but it's kind of ugly.
And there's that poor guy in the Lotus.
He got lapped, I think.
All right, you passed.
I lapped him. Yeah, I was like, I can't believe I lapped somebody.
356 Porsche.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, 356 Porsche. Yeah, he's behind the Lotus. And there's this thing where the way the camera's set up, it looks like I'm a little further back than I am. Like I'm scared I'm going to hit the guy. I don't have great brakes on the car, I guess. I don't have anything to compare it to. Nothing at all.
It also makes you really nervous when you're going up bumper to bumper with these. Some of them are high dollar cars, some really classic, amazing cars, and you're really bumper to bumper. That's for me, that's kind of a scary part of it.
Yeah, Coronado, there's a guy who had a 9046 Porsche, which is $1 million car, and the guy just went flying right in front of me, like out wide and just darted. I didn't slam the brakes on, not to clip the dude. The plan with the Roadster, here's the famous corkscrew.
Yeah.
The plan with the Roadster is to get it running, and I said, get John Morton to drive that thing.
Tune it up?
Well, I don't know what's right and what's wrong, whether it's good or bad or whatever, but John Morton, if he took it out to Willow Springs for a day and turned some laps in it, would tell you what the car was doing, right?
And I don't know how these guys do it. Even at the event we were at, Amir would jump into a car, do halfway through the course. And
needs more sway bar.
He was like, more sway bar, needs more wing in the back.
That's the whole thing between the adjustable. That's the thing. It's like adjustable sway bar, adjustable spring perches, adjustable camber, and I'm always like, Les, how come we never adjust anything? And he's like, it's not broken, and I'm like, I know, but everyone else is adjusting everything. I don't feel like we should be adjusting. And like, it ain't broke.
It's good strategy, though. That car keeps running, so.
It hasn't failed me. And it really, part of it is I just start in the back and pass people, but it really doesn't get past. Like, no one's ever, it's pretty competitive for what it is, considering I'm not a great driver and I don't know the track and the car's kind of tired and all that kind of stuff. It's fairly competitive. As a matter of fact, last year they did the 2.5 Trans Am race, and the guys who won the race, the Breck brothers, driving their souped-up BMWs.
They're semi-questionable legal BMW, yes.
Well, like I said, when cars that never won in the past do nothing but win now, and they're great drivers, but their technique for passing is they pull next to you and then they blow on straightaways. They just blow. If you're running at Fontana, they just go wide up on the bank and pass 9 cars. You're like, maybe the guy's packing a little extra horsepower.
Yeah, never saw that in any vintage racing.
He slid right out of the draft and passed 9 cars.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you didn't see that so much back in the day. It was John Morton and his 510. But the thing is those guys won the race last year, fastest lap 148. And I turned to 150, so it's not, 2 seconds is plenty of time in racing. But on a 2.3-mile track, it's not that far off the
considering how probably ultra competitive those guys have been driving every freaking vintage race.
And that track a lot, yeah. And how I'm not. That's me missing my 4th gear. I think I only did it once, thankfully.
I saw the telltale on the tack at, like 8,800 or something like that?
That's what it does. It was funny because Les poked his head in and said, telltale on the tack. It was like $9,000. But in the morning, and he said, you must have missed, you missed a shift. And I said, no, I didn't. That was from last time I drove the car. Like it was an excuse, except for I was driving last time I missed the shift. So
you tell him, Les, maybe you should adjust something.
Yeah, why don't you adjust something?
You should adjust something.
I think my favorite part about the car is, it's got a lot of nice things in it, and it's pretty racy. I love that he has the piece of wood with lines drawn on it for the fuel cell dipstick.
Yeah.
And every time he pulls it out, it makes me feel good that he's
it's a stick that says like full, half empty.
It's like an old ruler or something.
That's how Mark Twain got his name. I just literally shoves the thing, and the fuel cell has a sponge in it too. So I don't know if he's pushing it into the sponge.
I don't know, man. It's just one of those things that makes me feel like we're on the right team here.
Yeah, he got a stick with a Sharpie mark on it that says full and unfull.
Yeah, and I asked him, how many gallons? Does the lines tell you? He goes, I don't know. I just filled it to the top line. We never measured it, so.
Right. Well, it's not a science. It's more of a feeling. This is a weird part of the track because this part of the track is downhill for a long period of time, and you're so used to tacking the car up and shifting and getting as much as you can out of it, but it's like you're going downhill. So if you're flooring it in 3rd gear, you're going to get loose and get off you're being pulled down the hill. So after the corkscrew, and I don't know if this is right or not, but I do a short shift. I do the corkscrew in 2nd gear and then go into 3rd without tacking it up. Yeah, because you're being pulled downhill and it's like a little off camber, and you can make up time in that part. It's real tempting, but you see a lot of guys getting off the track up there because it's that downhill, like, I'm catching this dude, except for you're getting pulled off the track.
Well, it's interesting because it's probably a really good thing, because one of the things that always catches me is when I get tangled up with the gears, trying to think about banging a gear versus watching the road and trying to strategize to drive faster.
Right.
You all lose perspective, and the next thing you know, you're in the wrong gear, spinning out because you popped it in the 2nd instead of 3rd or some dumb thing like that. And that's why it's good that I'm driving on the track, not near people.
The thing I noticed too, which is one of the things, it's actually one of the things that's good about doing like one of those Toyota celebrity races or something. Just you get used to having dudes in your mirror, and not only in your mirror, but like physically making contact with you. Like, you feel, bumper, guys tapping me, and there'll be 2 guys, and they don't give a shit. It's not their car, and the cars are all equal, so they have guys up your ass all the time. And at the very beginning, you look up in your mirror and you see a car, and you go, holy shit, and then you look down and you're way off your line. Like you start driving in your mirrors, you're completely fucked up. And the moral of the story is, people hate it when you're up their ass. Yeah. And they're either looking in the mirror or they're looking at the track. And once they're in the mirror, they're off their line, they're overcompensating, and they're fucking up. So when you're trying to pass somebody, you don't have to get really aggressive. Just get up their ass and in their mirror for a lap. Don't get over anxious about it. Just get up their ass for a few minutes, and they will make a mistake, and then you can pass them. I think this is the one where I don't have a lot of room between the wall and this dude.
Yeah, I think you need a horn.
Yeah, you crowbar that
dude. A horn or something.
Yeah. This is him
he
going,
wasn't
fuck
having
you
that.
for
Yeah.
that pass, but he's carrying too much speed, and he's got the wrong line on this corner. But that was him going.
But
that
you're
was
absolutely
bullshit.
right. Any track event that I go to, even some of these track days, with the different clubs we go to, every time I pass a guy, it's not because I'm faster. It's because I just sit behind him and wait for them to make a mistake.
And get nervous, because I've done that.
Yeah.
I've done that, and I've gotten the treatment too, because every once in a while you'll get these guys that are just crazy good drivers, and not on a fast car, just great drivers, and they'll stick to your ass like glue, and you'll be working the thing, and your immediate response to the brain says, drive fucking faster.
Yeah.
Hammer it.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, you're driving slower, because I've watched the in-car videos where it's happened, and you start doing the start-finish timing on those laps.
Right.
And what you see inevitably is this every time. If you're driving by yourself, driving calm, you're driving fast. As soon as that guy gets on your ass and you think you're driving fast, your lap time goes down.
Right. It's like the more noise you're making, the slower you're going. And it's sort of counterintuitive because at the beginning you think, oh, if I can hear all the screeching and tire burning and all this stuff, but it's smooth and quiet. It's kind of like swimming. If you're splashing, you ain't going very fast. If you're not making much of a wake, and like I said, here's where everyone gets off the track. It's so tempting going down the hill. But yeah, so the deal for all the folks that like racing is you don't have to get ballsy with a pass move. The race is plenty long. The track is plenty long. You driving up a guy's ass for 2.5 miles feels like a lifetime to that dude. That dude will stare in his mirrors. He will go hard, and he will fuck up. And then you can pass when he opens the door instead of trying to push the door open with your bumper.
Yeah, it's crazy because it's exactly that thing, and you know what's happening too, because you just start getting all amped up, like you're shifting harder,
right?
You're oversteering into things that you just normally would glide through.
And again, it's really hard to be in your mirror and on the track at the same time, especially when you're staring at that wink that has like 100 mirrors on. Like you get up, once you get up in that thing, you're not looking at the track anymore.
It takes all the limited concentration I have to keep my right. ADD brain from like thinking and singing songs while I'm driving, and the guy shows up in your rear view. It's nothing good.
I like doing that though. I like getting right up on somebody's ass and just sticking there as close as I possibly can to just make them a little bit nervous.
This is me passing a 911 just to the inside. That car, that 610, is such a funky car, too. It's such a crazy non-race car.
I think it works for you in that advantage because that guy's thinking, God dang it, I'm not going to get smashed up by a Datsun.
Yeah, it is a funky, crazy Datsun.
It's a good-looking car, though.
Isn't this the car that showed up 10 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This, by the way, the car, off the trailer, check the gas, check the oil, close the hood, cameras on, and it was rolling.
Does Les check the oil with a big stick too?
Hey, also,
just jam it into the valve
same
cover?
tires that we were running.
Oh, yeah.
There was no extra tires or any of that shit at all.
I don't even remember if you checked the lug nuts on it.
I told him to check the lug nuts because once I talked to the guy, I had this fucked up conversation with Sean, the guy from Sharp Sight Race Cars, the guy built the Camel GT Z car. I said to him, what do you think about running on magnesium rims? And he's like, no way. And then he said, I don't even run on old aluminum rims. We run new rims that are vintage, correct, but they're new. Like, not even the old, here's some Libras from 1975. Don't worry, they're aluminum. Well, it's still 35-year-old aluminum. So he said, we run new rims. And I thought, that's good. And then I realized, I'm running magnesium rims. He gave the don't even, and I was like, fuck. So I kept checking the lugs all the time, and I kept wanting to check for cracks.
Those rims were the rims you had. I think you had a couple sets of real mags, and one of them, the set looked okay. The other one looked like a freaking sponge.
Yes.
And then I think Jay painted it with house paint or something to keep it from leaking.
Yeah, I think it was like Henry's roof, plastic roof cement or something because it kept leaking. Yeah.
Yeah, good times.
Yeah. Oh, here's me lapping the Lotus guy.
Yep. And
this guy was sitting right next to us, and I kept trying to use him as my source of information, like when are we starting and when all that. And he was one of these guys that was funny. He was like, out there at a vintage race, not particularly talkative, not rude, this sort of short shift into third there. Because you don't want to be winding it out in second going down this hill.
Yeah.
You'll get getting sideways. But not particularly talkative, but sort of friendly. But it was weird. And it's also weird. I find it weird, too, where that guy doesn't walk 20 feet over to my car and go, what do you got here? Like, this is a kind of weird paint scheme. What is this thing?
He's too busy adjusting stuff.
I guess he must adjust. Well, he should adjust his attitude a little bit next time. Yeah, he was dialing things in.
Yeah, this rich guy racing, it's tough. You know?
So this is probably my 9th lap, fastest lap, which is clear space, learn the track, looked in my rear view, saw that Porsche was behind me a couple hundred yards, wasn't worried about that car. Oh, no, or the race just ended. Well, anyway, poor example, but yeah.
You did well, past a couple people there.
Oh, yeah. No, for this car and Adam driving it, it always finishes mid-pack. It doesn't matter.
I don't know if that's good or bad thing.
Well, it's good when you start in the back.
Well, starting them always end up like, screw the qualifying, starts in the back, passes a ton of guys. Guys that he's passed are old-time racers that have been running these series for years and years. And we show up, roll the car out, put it out on the track, and it does extremely well. Imagine if one time Les said, how's the car running? And you said, I think you need a little bit more front sway bar on there.
Yeah, I need a little more. I need about 3 degrees more camber in the front.
Feels like she's a little loose.
I have no. All I remember is about 3 races ago when we were at 3 races ago. I think we were in California Speedway over there, and one of the Datsun guys, the guy's building Troy Ermish, the guy's building the other. He has the real 610, the one that won the Trans Am champion, whatever, won the championship that year. Maybe it's the B sedan or whatever it was. But anyway, he's building that car, which I'm cool with because this is the backup car, and I think it's fun to have that car. And I figure, hey, look, anytime that car comes out, it'll make my car worth a little more. But he put his head, he's been doing a bunch of homework on the car, trying to rebuild it and stuff, and he put his head under my car and he said, your rear sway bar's on upside down, and one of your shocks is leaking fluid. And I was like, all right, I hear you. And that was 3 races ago.
Yeah, we did that on purpose. That's how we get a little more tension out of that sway bar. We mount that shit upside down.
Yeah, so all things considered, the car works nicely, but I would love to dial that in and get that FIA head on there and get that motor making 200 horsepower instead. I think it was like 183, 184 on the dyno. This car about, about 8 years, and it sat around for 5 years, and then we just went, let's go racing. And we went to Coronado. Man, it did fine. It's never been touched, really, and it's been a race car since like 92, and it's been like 20 years, and nothing's ever been monkeyed with.
No, that's why this is all reliable, but it's almost time for a freshen up.
I think it's time for a little freshening up.
We might even flip that sway bar in the back.
The other good one with Les is Les said, I found a great deal. The problem with Coronado is I had my transponder go out, which made me start in the back of the pack. I wasn't doing it.
Is that the one where the friendly Ramici brothers loaned you their spare?
They loaned me their spare non-hardwired one. They lent me their battery-operated one. But Les told me about 2 weeks before this, I got on eBay, I got a deal on transponder. Dude's selling them. We're going to save like $75, $80 a pop. You need one for the Sharp car, and you need one for the BRE car, and we're going to save a ton of money. And then when he got to the track, I was like, where's the transponder? He's like, didn't show up in the mail yet. I said, Les, so what are we going to do? He's like, we got to rent one from the track. I'm like, how much money are we saving on eBay if they don't physically show up? Isn't me renting the transponder for the weekend nullifying or deeply cutting into our cost savings that you're getting off of eBay?
I'm sure it all up, and it came out exactly even. And the ones that you would have bought brand new probably came with an instruction, warranty, instead of ones that were like...
And showed up.
Yeah, and showed up. And these were ones that were probably in a violent wreck at some point in their career.
Yes, cursed transponders. And if you don't think they can ever go out, they do, because mine went out at Coronado. And again, it was just part of my shit luck where Les gave man, these things never go out. Like, yes, they do. Yes. So, and I guess from now on, I can't figure out if the rechargeable one is the way to go or the hardwired one is the way to go. I saw a dude funny transponder conversation, but I saw a guy who had his zip tied to his grill. Like his thing was, I want to get it, like I want to put it on a stick and put it out in front of me.
Oh, yeah.
And my transponder was in the rear of my car, and somebody less, I think, was like, what kind of idiot put this thing in the rear of the car? You put it in the front of the car so it gets across the start-finish line first. And then somebody said, it's going against itself. So
it doesn't matter where
it doesn't matter if it's in the rear of the car or the front of the car. The lap starts when it crosses. Yeah. And then he said, if you put it in the rear of the ar, you get a little extra speed.
You get 8 feet of extra.
You get 9 feet of extra speed going across the river. So I realized, oh yeah, it doesn't matter where you put them, but it does matter if you don't have one.
Yeah,
and that's what we needed. So turned to 150, 9, 0.9. So I'm still 150, and again. It just for everyone's edification, the big Trans Am cars that you know so well, the Boss Mustangs and whatnot, the Javelins and all that, Camaros and all that, on the same track, when you look at their fast times and you look at the 149, 150 would put you in the middle of that group. As a matter of fact, I had to laugh because I was thinking, well, how's he do with how fast are those big cars going? And Vic Edelbrock had like a 155, and Cammy Edelbrock had like a 153, and I was like, oh, I guess I would have beat those guys in my piece of shit Datsun.
Well, we don't know if that's good or bad, but here's the thing that I would guarantee.
Probably bad.
If you jumped in any one of those cars, you'd finish you'd finish right in the mid-pack, and you'd have that same dude going, look, stick with me, buddy. I'll take you along and teach you the course.
Yeah.
And he'll finish 4 places behind you.
Sure. And I think Vic, God bless him, rammed somebody or something one time. It's a little
Vic's a good guy, but there's a reason why he makes parts, not a professional race car driver.
It's not uncommon for Vic to T-bone somebody or stuff somebody into the wall.
Well, the races ended, and ended up making it all 10 laps, and it's pretty, I don't know what the math is. I think that the course is like 2.23 or something like that. It's coming up on 2.3 miles. So the 150 is actually pretty good time. You're averaging, I don't know, about 70 miles an hour in just a piece of shit old Datsun with 13-inch rims. Not bad. And all those cars, by the way, on that track seem to do pretty good for what they are. And it's kind of interesting because there was one asswipe and a Pro-Spec Miata.
Oh, there's 2 guys that started at the end.
2 guys. And he got off the track, and I remember I was coming up, and there was a yellow flag, and I was like, uh-oh. And then it was like the guy in the Miata, and I was like, you dick, you shouldn't have been in this race. But what the fuck? I think one was Vandergrift's son who wanted to go out there and have fun. But either way, the Spec Miata was on this track, and it did, I think, like a 148 and change or 149 or something like that. And the winner of this race was a chick in a 911 named Olga or something who did it in 145.
That's fast.
And then another guy in a 510 did it like 147 and stuff like that. So the thing that's really kind of cool is you have these 1960s vintage cars. I mean, 1968, 69, 70 Datsuns, 911s, shit like that, doing faster laps than a modern-day Spec Miata on the same track is kind of cool because I'm sure Mario Andretti wasn't driving the Miata, but still pretty cool to be hanging with the modern technology in the old tech stuff.
Yeah, because it's kind of like the stuff that we keep seeing. We go out there with all our old pieces of shit. Guy drives out in a new Vat, a new Porsche. There was the guy. I think there was a guy with a GT3 or GT2 up at the 341 Challenge. Another bone stock, nothing done to it, no tires, and he rolled out. He was probably in the top 5, I bet.
He was third. The guy with the blue GT3 RS, he was third.
Yeah. But by the way, when he saw me pull off at the end and everyone else was going one direction, I was pulled off. That was the guy yelling, "Hey, we need that transponder back!" Like they always wave you over. Come here. By the way, what do you think I'm doing? Heading for Mexico now? Like I'm downshift. I'm going to the port. Like, how about you just come over and fucking find us? Like, that guy is like, he was waving me off, and I had that weird thing, like, oh, he's going to yell at me for that pass on the guy at the MG too close to the wall or something. We need the transponder! Like, all right.
Yeah, and he's got Les's driver's license and birth certificate or something that he'll never get back.